Hey TCS viewers, it's Chris Niccolls here again from the camera store. We've got a beautiful and very out of character March day here in Calgary, so we decided to hit the park. Got lots of people out here fishing, lots of people looking at nature, and we're going to try to find some animals and wildlife here as well today on the brand new Nikon D7200. Now, this is one of the most eagerly anticipated cameras. I was surprised actually, but we have a lot of people asking, when is that new camera coming out? The 7200, what's it going to do? I'm a little bit skeptical here today because on paper, this camera looks and feels a lot like a D7100 right down to the feature list. But we're going to take it out, put it through its paces and find out, does the 7200 really have enough to make it worthwhile, or are we just repeating what we've already seen before? Now, by far one of the biggest complaints about the D7100 was a lack of buffer capacity. You just couldn't hold it down and shoot in sequence for a long period of time. And that is very important when we're looking at a camera to do wildlife and sports, journalism, that kind of thing. So the 7200 does welcome a very, very big improvement. 100-shot JPEG buffer, or about 20 to 27 RAW, depending on what bit rate you use. A huge improvement and a welcome addition. There are literally millions of midges all over the water here. I'm gonna take a picture here and get a shot. I should be fishing, but that's okay. I'm gonna check this out. I'm actually shooting the 70-200 2.8 on the D7200, which actually reminds me of a really silly thing here. I actually really hate this name on this camera, D7200. I can't tell you how many times Jordan's been like, oh, we gotta do 7200 video, and I'm thinking a 2.8 telephoto lens. It's very confusing, I don't like it. That's just one minor point. The other thing though that I do like, although it's not really a change, is the image quality on this camera. 24 megapixel sensor, no aliasing filter, and looking at this shot, I can zoom right in here. I mean, the detail is incredible. These creatures are tiny and we can see them with plenty of detail. And what we've noticed on this is very good results, slightly better low light performance, and you can get more detail out of the shadows than the original 7100 sensor. But all in all, especially in light like this, we're basically getting on par image quality. So far lots of beer cans and lots of deer poop. We're gonna find some kind of wildlife out here. Across this dangerous bridge. Oh, yeah. All right, so I'm just taking a look at some photos I shot here, but this is actually a really good opportunity to test a feature on the 7200. I'm shooting the opposite bank of the river. It's actually quite dark over there in the shade of the trees, and I'm shooting some Canada geese. And I've got the 80-400 lens here with a 1.4 converter. Now at 400 millimeters, that equals f8, and the D7200 can easily focus there. Now the 7100 was capable of f8 focusing as well, but I do definitely notice the 7200 has a faster, more positive response. No problem focusing there, even up close in very tricky situations. The camera's got the light and it can do it with the new processor. So that's an impressive new addition. All right, so we're gonna take a little break here from our hike to talk about something very important that they have changed here. It's the processor, and a lot of people don't ever think about the processor, but it's actually a critical component of your digital SLR. This has a brand new X-Speed 4 processor. It promises twice as much processing power as the 7100, and this plays out in a lot of different ways. Now, first off, the buffer depth being bigger, I mean, that's a huge advantage. It plays to the strength of the autofocus capabilities, also some new movie enhancements, so don't underestimate a very powerful processor in here. It is a nice change. Now, when it comes to handling and the button controls and layouts on this camera, it's easy. Just watch our Nikon D7100 review and you'll get all the information you need, because literally they have not changed anything. I mean, this GPS remote control thing used to say GPS on it. It doesn't anymore, so that's a big change. I've got a little Wi-Fi badge here. Otherwise, though, the camera's exactly the same. They should have called this the D7100S like they used to. I mean, look at Nikon's latest SLRs that have just come out. The D750, the D810, they had substantial feature changes as well as ergonomic changes. And you got things like better battery life on those cameras. Here we're getting 17% more, but there they squeezed out 33% more. You got cameras like the Nikon D5500, which added for the first time ever a touchscreen control, which would have been great here. I understand no rotation. Everybody thinks that they're gonna, break easy. You want rugged weather sealing, but still, this camera could really have benefited from a touchscreen, that'd be a nice feature. However, no camera ever gets it ergonomically right the first time, even the second time. So I'm sure they could have made some changes. I can think of one. The new grip on the 5500 camera is excellent. I would have liked to have seen something like that modeled into this camera. Now, Wi-Fi and near-field contact, I mean, these are new features. All modern cameras are expected to have them now. And so I'm not complaining about that. It is good, it is nice. You don't have to use those bulky adapters on the side. But when it comes to wildlife and journalism, I would trade all the NFC in the world for 2 more frames per second. Okay, so obviously you can see that we're not outside anymore, we're in an office, but that's because it's hard during the day to find -2 and -3 EV conditions. So we're in the back office here, and we're using this as a test for the autofocusing capability. Now the Nikon D7100 could focus down to -2 EV, the D7200 can go to -3 EV. And as I focus around here, you can hear it's nice and quick and responsive, no problems. Camera picks it up nice and quick. It's a great improvement. And check out this photo here that we took. Jordan shot a picture of me at -4, as you can see with the light meter, and the camera still did it very well, albeit at a slower rate. All in all, very impressive. Now, Nikon's made big changes in their cinematic quality lately. Their SLRs are very, very competitive on the market, and they get brilliant results in the video. Now, the 7200 is no exception. It's got some nice pluses here. First off, we've got clean HDMI out, so you can go to higher end recorders like Ninjas. As well, you're also going to get a flat profile. It's going to help you when you're doing your grades. Another big thing, 60p now at 1080, and it's full sensor readouts. You're going to get nice sharpness even when you're looking at those slow-mos. The only downside with that is you still have to deal with that 1.3 crop factor. A little bit annoying if you want to do wide-angle slow motion. The other thing that I kind of found to be annoying here is we still have that aperture fixed in live view. You can't change it, and it's a real pain. So we're still on the 7200 having to exit out of live view and change our aperture. I thought they would have fixed that, or at least added it on this series of camera by now. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. In our wildlife expedition, we didn't find a lot, some insects and some birds. It was fairly lackluster. Honestly, much like this camera, you know, I mean, my big problem with the D7200 is we don't have a lot of substantial improvements on the camera compared to the 7100. And you got to remember, we've got a lot of competition in this market. We've got the Pentax K3, which actually shoots higher frame per second in this camera. We've got the Sony A7S Mark II, same sensor, super fast capabilities. And even the Canon EOS 7D Mark II, you know, we got some flack because a lot of people thought we were harsh on that camera. I wasn't a big fan of the sensor, but I did extol the virtues of its great body design, fantastic shutter, and fast shooting. Now we've got the 7200. The sensor is fantastic, no need to improve that, but we need better frames per second on this camera. Some ergonomic changes would be nice, and basically when you look at the 7200 and the 7100, you just don't have enough changes to really make this a wow factor kind of camera. If you already have a Nikon D7100, there's just no reason whatsoever to upgrade to this camera at all, and that's really the first time I've been able to say that. And that's unfortunate because Nikon's been on such a steamroller, got a like momentum streak lately. They've been taking the market by storm, and this really does seem to halt that momentum. Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Don't forget, follow us on Twitter, talk to us, see us on Instagram as well, and check out and subscribe to our channels. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you soon.